Welcome everybody to the next part of Retrospective. We're back with Mass Effect. And here we're to report in that we took care of the Consort's questline. And I don't know, she offers some, the Consort offers some dialogue. It's not very groundbreaking. If the Doomsaying is worth putting in the beginning with the assistant in Eden Prime, then I feel like this is worth putting in. Just because it's a little something that talks more about the tone of Mass Effect 1 rather than the actual plot of it.
Speaking with him. Even the Alcor diplomat has withdrawn his campaign against me.
There you go.
It was my honor to aid.
You can do a short romance with her, by the way. Not real romance, but you can basically sleep with her.
Out of the kindness of your heart. I also have one more thing to give you, if you are interested.
Sure.
Be honored. I offer a gift of words.
So I find this interesting. This actually, what she says depends on your background and what your service history is.
Sadness behind your eyes. It tells a story that makes me want to weep. Pain and loss, but it drives you, makes you strong. That strength is what kept you alive.
And then this is a Kuz.
Around you was dying. You alone survived.
So the first half was Mindoir,
to survive.
and this is a Kuz.
Be who you are, but it is not who you will become. It only forms the basis for your future greatness. Remember these words when doubt descends.
So if you say that's it, you can sleep with her basically. Nah, whatever.
You have quite a gift.
Told you this playthrough isn't for romance.
Thank you.
Not necessarily, at least. I still haven't decided if I want to do a little something for this playthrough,
Underestimate the
but I'm mostly saving it for Mass.
in light of your efforts, the Alcor ambassador
Damn this coughing.
would like you to have
Man, I cannot stop apologizing for that. But we'll probably do something Mass Effect 2. Honestly.
mystery. I have never learned its use or purpose, but I sense it.
But like I said, I might do something in this playthrough.
I must ask you to
Just to give you a little taste of what Mass Effect was like. And I think I'll do it, you know? But yeah, you can probably deduce what I'm going to do.
Shepard. They will give you strength.
So yeah, she gave us a little trinket. And, oh, yes. I got some charm points. Let's see if I can, we'll see this. Assault rifles. And then everybody else. Oh, yes, I upgraded actually to shotguns. And Tally now has damping. Which is good. Damping allows you to, basically, sorry, no, that's not it. These powers, if so you hit somebody with a damping field, their powers will automatically go on cooldown. So, it's pretty cool. Also, something I didn't talk about before with the powers of this game, they're all individual. So if I use one power, I can still use another one. But for Mass Effect 2, that's when they start using universal cooldowns. And I was always a little disappointed with that. I thought it was kind of unfair. You know, combat in general has gotten better to the point where if Andromeda is looking to Mass Effect 3's multiplayer for how it's going to do most of its combat and gameplay, I'm actually really looking forward to it. Because Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, for all the stuff that kind of you can hold against it, I feel like it does a lot right. Interestingly enough, you know, it does a lot with very little. It managed to mix up the gameplay. It honestly sometimes made it hard to play the single player for Mass Effect 3, just because at a certain point in time, all I wanted to do was use the new powers and use the new classes. And we're finally gonna talk to this guy.
That Hanar refuses to listen to reason. Why can't it act in an orderly and
I told you we'd do this later.
Are there laws being broken here?
I am not unreasonable. The Hanar is free to spew its nonsense once it purchases an evangelical permit.
Alright, yeah.
If you'd like, I could talk.
So this is a religious speech problem. Where the Hanar worship the Protheans, and they call them the Enkindlers. So the ones who first brought light to the universe.
Do you desire to learn of the Enkindlers? Or has the Honorable CSEC officer...
So yeah, you know, we can't have... The Citadel, so many cultures live here, we can't have people without licenses just out on the street, you know, without going through the proper channels to say what they need to say about their religion, because, you know, this is a place where everyone has to get along, and if you can't really stay within the guidelines,
Only wishes to spread...
you're just going to cause trouble.
Listen, there is no intent to cause trouble.
Is this how the Enkindlers would want you to use
So,
this?
you can also just pay for him to get the license. It's the other way out, or you can just not help them.
Sentient races.
The Enkindlers wouldn't wish their message to be spread by breaking society.
Interestingly enough, from what we actually eventually learned about the Protheans in Mass Effect 3, that actually might be wrong.
Has clouded judgment in
The Protheans would probably want their society spread or their message spread, even if it meant forcing it over others. That's another thing we have to talk about once we get towards the end game.
I see the Hanar.
The Protheans as viewed by Mass Effect 1, and the Protheans as viewed through Mass Effect 2, and then on to 3.
Happy to help.
It's
For your assistance.
Mm.
Fabulous.
I want to say it could be better. Their presentation could be better. I think I have all the keepers except one. I can tell you right now if I do. Yes, and I know where he is. Alright, I'm hoping to get off the Citadel this time around. I think we can do it. Yeah, you know what time it is. Yeah, you know what time it is. Elevator time. You just sit here in the silence. Until they talk, no one talks. I ain't got nothing to say. Oh, there they go.
Look on the council's face. When they see evidence, they can't just ignore it. If the evidence is worth trying to kill me for, I hope it's sufficiently put it in council.
I'm pretty sure there's more. What? That's it? I thought there was more. I thought Tally was going to say something. Alright, then I definitely wasted your time. Sorry, everybody. I mean, being stuck in an elevator with three pretty ladies, it could be worse. Could be better. Could be worse. Alright, finally. We are here. On to the main event. With this, very lovely fountain. Oh, Ashley makes a nice comment here, by the way.
I bet all these staircases
Yeah, there it is. That's the one I wanted.
make for good defensive positions.
Their banter very much views how each character sees the world, and Ashley as a soldier sees it like that. Tally talks about her own environment and, the place she grew up in. I find it very fascinating. I don't have very much money. Very much money? Very much money. Okay. Hey, Anderson, we're back.
Come on. Udina's presenting the Quarians.
So I can't wait to really get out here, man. It's finally gonna happen.
It was a major victory.
I'm gonna clean up some other quest lines I have to finish up
To finding
before we leave the Citadel, but...
And one
Oh, here's Saren's audio recording.
return of the Reapers.
You wanted proof? There it is.
Look at him. Look at him posing. He didn't do anything. I did everything.
Saren will be
So this proof is
all efforts will be made to
irrefutable.
for his crime.
Jesus, my tongue today.
I recognize the other voice, the one speaking with Saren. Matriarch Benezia.
Matriarch Benezia.
Who is she?
Matriarchs are powerful Asari who have entered the final stage of their lives. Revered for their wisdom and experience.
So yes, they live to be 1,000 years old.
Mentors to my
Anybody that lives to be 1,000 years old
is a powerful
probably knows some stuff.
followers.
Especially if they got to live that long
Ally for Saren.
and didn't make too many mistakes. So I was reading Seamus Young's retrospective. He actually made something a while back. I think it took like a year or so to make his own retrospective written blog on Mass Effect, and it's actually part of what inspired me to do this. He talked about, imagine if basically every great thinker for the past 1,000 years was alive and still working on the thing they're known for. Like, imagine all those people, every genius, prodigy, inventor, thinker, artist was still alive and got to talk to every other one that was still alive for the past 1,000 years. Just talking about problems and like discussing it and being able to have a conversation with them. Like, imagine that kind of society where that many people are still alive. It sounds amazing.
Saren thinks it can bring back the Reapers.
So again, here we are.
Listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, we're not making a very good case.
Machines that wiped out all life in the galaxy? Impossible. It has to be. Where did the Reapers go? Why did they vanish? How come we found no trace of their existence?
All good points.
Found something.
But Shepard just makes passionate speeches that don't really go anywhere, and that's kind of part of the problem right now. Like, well, just listen.
I tried to warn you about Saren and you refused to face the truth. Don't make the same.
Yeah, but you had no proof back then.
This is different.
Now you have proof.
Saren
But you don't have proof about the Reapers. All you have is one guy who thinks they'll come back. It's not fair to treat those two things as equivalent. The game wants us to believe it's equivalent by saying, yeah, Shepard was right once, and you're the player character, so you'll be right again. And here we go. See, it's all just them saying they're wrong.
50,000 years.
And you're spouting nonsense. Shepard just learned this like 10 minutes ago,
Happen again.
and she's spouting it like she's known it all her life. Is my problem.
Spectre, the council has stripped him of his position.
That is not good enough.
We actually get a good idea of what Saren's resources actually are outside of being a Spectre, and it's really impressive.
Fleet cannot track down one man.
And that's also a good point.
A Citadel fleet could secure the...
See, he wants a fleet to protect the colonies, but a fleet would actually not be necessary to hunt Saren. This line is stupid.
Won't be dragged into a galactic.
Like right now for Mass Effect 1 it makes sense because it's just like, okay, so there's a system of the galaxy, or there's systems, a group of systems that don't adhere to the Citadel politics, or they don't adhere to what we say or what we do. So if we stepped on their toes, and them being a big enough power, it would be war. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that over just one species who can't handle their own problems. That makes sense. It's any geopolitical problem we have here on Earth in regular form. We don't want to go there because it's, despite our interests, it's not worth the risk. We would lose more than we gain in terms of safety or net gain. But Mass Effect 2 totally invalidates that because there is no central power in the Terminus systems. They're all just gangs and raiders and just a couple people who like keeping to themselves. None of the forces in Mass Effect 2 in the Terminus system would ever risk war. Except maybe the Geth, but the Geth aren't recognized. Like, no one would ever risk a war with the Council. It's the other way around. Like, there's no one to fight a war with in the Terminus systems.
I can take Saren down.
But this is a good compromise. My problem is that Mass Effect 2 invalidates this problem. There's no significant power in the Terminus systems that would actually trigger a war. That wouldn't happen.
Come with joining the Spectres.
But this is a good solution for the problem as presented right now.
You don't have to send a fleet into the Traverse.
So with that, I agree. It's nice.
Everybody's happy.
Commander Shepard, step forward.
So this is a pretty important moment. I know I just said a lot right now, but we're going to let this moment kind of play.
It is the decision of the Council that you be granted all the powers and privileges of the Special Tactics and Reconnaissance Branch of the Citadel.
So here we go.
Spectres are not trained, but
So here's a fancy speech about what's happening.
forged in the fire of service and battle. Those whose actions elevate them above the rank and file.
Spectres are an ideal, a symbol, the embodiment
I will admit this is a very nice speech.
and self-reliance. They are the
I imagine they had this speech storyboard, like written down before the storyboard happened. Like they knew they were going to write this scene.
Galactic peace. Both our first
And being a Spectre is actually a great role in terms of like an RPG.
galaxy is the
You know, with this kind of RPG, BioWare is pretty good at giving you enough power where you can do things, but also adhere to somebody, but have enough freedom that you can do basically whatever you want. It's a good style, and it gives us a lot of, as you'll see, it'll give us a lot of power to do whatever we want in the universe. So,
What's my first mission?
We're sending you into the Traverse after Saren. He's a fugitive from justice, so you are...
yes, we're here. We're gonna chase down Saren.
or eliminated.
He's a fugitive now.
Any idea where...
I would like my leads.
We will forward any relevant files to Ambassador Udina.
Okay.
This meeting of the Council is adjourned.
Congratulations, Commander.
We've got a lot of work to do, Shepard. You're going to need a ship, a crew, supplies.
You'll get access to special equipment and training now. You should go down to the CSEC Academy and speak to the Spectre Requisitions Officer.
Anderson, come with me.
That echo is just the game.
To set all this up.
Like, it's not my TV. That's just the echo chamber in the actual gameplay environment there.
thought the ambassador would be a little more grateful. He didn't even think.
Yeah.
He's got a lot on his mind. Come on.
Right behind you, Commander.
So here we go. So almost immediately what happens is, because you're a Spectre and also the first human Spectre, people start coming to you for favors because they see you're on the rise in power. And it's just generic RPG questline stuff. Like, it's just side quests. You know, do this for me, Shepard. Oh, can you do this for me? It'll help out humanity. Or do this for me. It's in your best interest. You know, you're new. You're a little bit unproven, but you have skill. You know, this will be good for you, good for me. Pretty simple stuff. Right now, what we're gonna do is I'll show you, for instance, with this guy. And then I will cut us to probably the dock. I'm gonna clean up the last of the quest lines in on the Citadel, because most of them I'm just gonna take care of for the most part. Like Jenna's sister, I took care of. You saw me take care of the consort, and hello. Yeah, Jenna's sister I took care of. Chorbin, I just have to collect the rest of the keepers. There's not much on our plate here. There's nothing really big here on our plate, to be honest. So I'll show you this guy, because this actually is a quest chain I want to show you.
Congratulations on becoming the first human Spectre, Commander. I'm certain you'll be up to the challenge.
I appreciate that.
My name is Admiral Kahoku. It's about time the Alliance got one of our own in with the Spectres. We need people like you to deal with our problems.
Is something wrong, Admiral?
I'm getting stonewalled by bureaucratic assholes. Nothing new. Maybe you can help me, Shepard. One of my recon teams was investigating some strange activity out in the Traverse. We lost contact yesterday. Now I can't.
So, pretty simple. Go find out what happened to this team. It's an Alliance problem. You'd be helping to speed this up, so you can, basically run in between, what's happening with the Council, what's happening with the Alliance. You can get things done for humanity. So,
I'll find them, Admiral.
We're gonna take care of this quest line.
Appreciate that, Commander.
Once we get out, I think this will be is it the first quest line we do? I think it might be. Once I get the coordinates, I'll figure it out. And this actually is one of the random planets that I'm gonna make us do. I'm gonna show it to you. I mean.
Maybe you can get some answers.
Okay. Oh man, there's some quest lines I really have to clean up. Okay. All right. So I will see you guys in a quick edit. I'm gonna go take care of this stuff. I'll be right back. So I totally forgot about this kind of side quest, and I realized I just kind of wanted to show you regardless.
100%. Initiating self-destruct.
So remember that suspicious gambling machine? Yeah, it was here.
Detonation sequence initializing. All organic.
I felt bad leaving this guy out of the playthrough.
You're not just a programmer of VI.
I felt bad, so I wanted to include him.
Correct. Unlike the Geth, I lack weaponry appropriate to my intellect.
So we have an AI who was funneling money,
Systems installed that when
and he was constructed by a Turian criminal. Actually, no, the AI was created by the Turian criminal, and then this was created from that AI, and he was left behind, and he's been trying to funnel money. There's really nothing I can learn from him that I didn't just tell you. So.
I'll bet that self-destruct sequence has a warm-up period.
So we're gonna beat a robot.
to disarm the self-destruct mechanism before it activates.
I felt bad leaving him out.
Enjoy defeating you before we are both destroyed.
So let's no, I forget how this works. No. I remember. It's Y X Y A X A A. I'm pretty sure. Well, he's dead now. I felt like showing him, and I feel like I didn't even do it justice. Well, back to the ship. Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. Welcome into this elevator. Yeah, that's right. I cut right back when we got in the elevator.
Everyone around here is still worried about ordinary business.
I'm that kind of monster.
It is necessary, Chief Williams.
But this is the last elevator. I've cleaned up all the quest lines. Welcome back. We're gonna get back to the story proper. Sorry about that. Last elevator though. Well, for right now. I can't guarantee that there won't be more elevators in your future. That's just a promise I can't make. In fact, I kind of refuse to make it. But what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna talk to him yet.
This is quite the view.
Yay! We get a lot from that. That was the last keeper. We have finished everything on the Citadel. Hey guys.
I've got big news for you, Shepard. Captain Anderson is stepping down as commanding officer of the Normandy. The ship is yours now.
She's quick and quiet, and you know the crew. Perfect ship for a Spectre. Treat her well, Commander.
I want the truth. Why are you stepping?
So we're getting the new prototype ship
You needed your own ship.
that was originally going to do nothing.
Anyone but the Council. And it's time for me to step down.
And finally,
Come clean with me, Captain.
let's get the truth.
You owe me that
The
much.
truth that we were about to learn last episode.
20 years ago, Shepard.
Was it last episode?
They were considering me for
I'm
this.
pretty sure it was. So yes.
Why didn't you ever mention this?
What was I supposed to say? I could have been a Spectre, but I blew it? I failed, Commander. It's not something that...
Jeez, Keith David, calm down.
Ask me later and I'll tell you the
Don't grill me, dog.
For now, all you need to know is, I was sent on a mission with Saren, and he made sure the Council rejected me.
We can ask him more about it right now, actually.
It came and went.
It's just the plot of the book.
You have a chance to make up for my mistakes.
What kind of leads do we have?
Saren's gone. Don't even try to find him.
Yeah. I don't know where that hologram was when he was on trial. And I don't know why he wasn't there again when we accused him again. But I guess he just didn't pick up the phone.
System shortly before our colony there dropped out of contact, and there have been sightings around Noveria.
Find out what Saren was after on Pharos and Noveria. Maybe you can figure out where the conduit is before he does.
What about the Reapers?
Those are the real threat.
That whole prophecy thing.
Council on this one, Shepard. I'm not sure they even exist.
Of course he believes that.
They do exist. The conduit's the key to bringing them back. Stop Saren from getting the conduit, and we stop the Reapers from returning.
Cool.
I'll stop him.
Sounds easy enough.
We have one more lead. Matriarch Benezia, the other voice in the
Whoa.
She has a
We do have one slot left in the party. Could this scientist's daughter perhaps fill that slot?
involved, but it might be a good idea to try and find her. See what she knows. Her name's Liara, Dr. Liara Tassoni. We have reports she was exploring an archaeological dig.
So we're gonna go to the Artemis Tau cluster first.
Sounds like we should head for the Artemis Tau.
I'll tell you more about the mission when we get there, but I do like getting Liara first thing.
You don't answer to us.
I just like completing the entire squad, like getting everybody on board, so I'll be able to maximize the most dialogue from them.
I get stuck cleaning it up.
I'll do whatever it takes to stop Saren.
Not exactly the answer I was looking for, Shepard. Remember, you were a human long before you...
And that's part of the dichotomy here of being a Spectre, as well as the Paragon Renegade system, is do you put humanity first, or do you put the galaxy first, you know? Is it a unilateral effort between everybody, or is this an effort where Shepard's just trying to put humanity first? You can do either one. And that's where Mass Effect 1 kind of leaves the Paragon Renegade scale a little bit. Scale a little bit. It changes, though.
How are you holding up?
Honestly, this isn't how I pictured my career coming to an end. Pushing papers really isn't my thing. But you're the one who can stop Saren. I believe in you, Shepard. If that means I have to step aside, so be it.
So what's his past?
Tell me what
I know it's in the book, but...
20 years ago.
It's close to 20 years ago now. Ambassador Goyle was our representative here on the Citadel. Like Udina, she wanted to get a human into the Spectres. She chose me.
So it's a stepping stone to having more influence in the galaxy. By having your own 007, you can basically have them do missions on your behalf, or on your species' behalf. Because they can basically do whatever they want.
I think I deserve the whole story.
We had intel on a rogue scientist being funded by Batarian interests. He was trying to set up a facility to develop...
So this is, yeah, like I said, this is the plot of the first Mass Effect book, I believe. It's all a lot of prologue stuff until eventually it interweaves with the actual Mass Effect game universe. Deception, Mass Effect Deception, terrible novel. Do not read it. I don't even think it's even considered canon because of how many things it not only gets wrong, but how many things it just plain ruins about the Mass Effect universe. Like, I heard for a while they were gonna try and rewrite it, but nothing ever came of it.
And a minimum of bloodshed.
A repeat of that is something the world does not need.
I'm guessing things didn't go as planned?
Saren and I split up to cover more ground. Then about halfway through the mission, there was a massive explosion in the refinery core. Officially, it was ruled an accident, but I think Saren detonated it on purpose to draw off the enemy guards.
Sounds like overkill to me.
The explosion tore the refinery to shreds.
So yeah, everyone died.
Black chemical clouds poured out into the atmosphere. Nobody inside survived. There was a camp for the workers and their families nearby. Between the fires and the toxic fumes, the final death count was over 500. Mostly civilians.
Jeez Louise.
The target was eliminated. Mission accomplished. And I ended up taking the blame.
Yeah.
That ended all talk of me joining the Spectres.
Well, that's it.
The only thing I care about is stopping Saren.
You're right, Commander.
Alright, well, time to go. I now have my own ship. I can chase down a rogue spectre. I have a decent enough team who's willing to help me fight Saren. We're gonna go do it. Also, I really appreciate in Mass Effect 1 you can actually walk into your ship. It's just a nice little detail that, like, there doesn't have to be a loading screen between, like, the planet or the station and the ship. I like that I get to do this. I know it's time consuming, it doesn't really do anything, and it's just loading in the area. But I appreciate it. I like it. I like this little in-between step to make me do a little extra work in the world. Like I said, it helps keep my immersion, and I appreciate that.
Heard what happened to Captain Anderson. Survives 100 battles and then gets taken down by backroom politics. Just watch your back, Commander. Things go bad on this mission, you're next on their chopping block.
Captain
Accidentally hit the mic.
It's like I'm steering the ship.
Whoops.
Yeah, the captain got screwed.
Joker's a good character, but he doesn't have a lot of dialogue in this game. He's got some good content, but not a lot.
Intercom's open. If you got anything you want to say to the crew, now's the time.
And you can do a little speech. Every Mass Effect game usually has at least one little speech you can do at some point. It usually doesn't change much. Maybe your Paragon Renegades score a little bit, but this one happens at the beginning. In Mass Effect 2 and 3, I think it happens at the end.
Won't lie to you, crew.
It's basically just a series of pieces you can say to a big speech.
This began with an attack on a human settlement in the Traverse. But we know Saren
Go
won't
up.
stop there.
There you go.
Geth armies aren't going to stay on the far fringes of Citadel space. For too long, our species has stood apart from the others. Now it's time for us to...
So yes, if you're curious as to what kind of character I'm role-playing, I told you it's mostly Paragon with some Renegade in there. Like I said, I like to role-play a type of character who's really into the idea of, of galactic community, who's about banding together, learning about alien species. A curious character,
Our enemy knows we're
who knows when to pull the trigger and when to keep the conversation flowing.
We'll be ready for them too.
A responsible character.
Humanity needs to do this.
Not completely self-sacrificing, but willing to.
Every other species in Citadel space. Saren must be stopped, and I promise you all, we will stop.
The dialogue doesn't really have the biggest range for what I want to do with this character. Like what I would ideally want to do, but there's some of it there.
Fancy speeches won't stop Saren from finding the conduit. If we really want to make the captain proud, we better get this bird in the air.
Yes, ma'am.
But not a bad speech all around. Pretty well done. We're still docked. But I'm gonna wrap up this episode. Not now. Never you fear. But with talking to the crew.
Commander.
So let's talk a little bit about Joker.
I like to know my crew.
We're gonna get to know the crew a little bit.
I can see where this is going. You did a background check on me, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you the same thing I told the captain. You want me as your pilot. I'm not good. I'm not even great. I am the best damn helmsman in the Alliance fleet. Top of my class in flight school, I earned.
So Joker just kind of went on a tangent.
In my file, I earned every...
Because he assumed we were gonna talk about his disease.
For my disease.
What are you talking about? Are you sick?
You mean You mean you didn't?
So yes, I just got the ship, so of course I don't have access to everyone's personnel files.
Okay, I've got Vrolik syndrome, brittle bone disease. The bones in my legs never develop properly. They're basically
I never actually looked up if this is real.
even with crutches.
Like it's a real thing. I mean, like it sounds kind of real. It just sounds more like that episode of SpongeBob where that guy has glass bones.
To manage my condition, Commander. Put the Normandy in my hands, and I'll make.
But he's a great pilot.
Just don't ask me to get up and dance unless you like the sound of snapping shin bones.
But that's that's pretty much the gist of it. Nothing he says really ever comes up. But we will stop by for Joker's dialogue every once in a while throughout the game. Usually after a big mission. So never you worry about that. That's the galaxy map. I think we're gonna open up the galaxy map probably the beginning of the next episode. Hello? Oh, right. He doesn't have any dialogue. And after you get the Normandy for the first time. I don't know why. I feel like it might be a bug, but you click on him and he doesn't even say anything. I think once you get this bird into the air and you start landing on planets, he'll have something to say. But until then, I don't think he has anything to say. Hello. Better salute. Alright. Chakwas doesn't have much dialogue. All she talks about is Anderson, Caden, and I think some of her personnel I think she talks about a little bit of her little history about what she's been through. It's not a lot, and it's not life-changing. I might get around to it at some point if I feel like I have some extra time to kill in an episode. Maybe even this episode. But right now, before I talk to Caden. I know everybody's a Caden fan. Calm down. I'm gonna get to it. I just want to grab this so I don't have to grab it again. And we're back. See, I told you. Everything's okay. It's all good. So I don't think anyone has anything big to say, really.
What's your opinion on the last?
They usually have things to say after major missions. They have a little bit to say right now, but it's not crazy. Not a lot.
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
I've wasted enough.
Yeah. So Caden doesn't really have anything to say right now, but we're gonna get a feel for what the ship looks like right now and see where everyone is stationed. Some people have some things to say, but right now, by and large, everyone's a little quiet. Garrus, Rex, and Tally, I believe, have some things to say. Ashley might have. I don't even think Ashley has a lot to say realistically. Look how slow this elevator is. This, unless I'm like mid-conversation. Okay, so let me tell you the structure of how I want to do this game. I want to show you all the dialogue between companions for the most part. So when we're on the ship, I'll have like after every mission, we'll have a little after-party talk where we just talk to everybody. Unless I'm mid-conversation inside this elevator, I will try to cut it for you. Because I feel like I put you through enough torture with the elevator conversations. So this is our requisitions officer. This is why you need to buy licenses. Because he doesn't get his stuff. He doesn't get his stuff from the Alliance. He freelances his stuff. And he buys it himself. But he needs the licenses to buy it. Because it's not standard Alliance stuff. I think it's dumb from like an actual point of view. But like, because you have to pay him. But like, for a video game, it's by and large fine. I still think it's weird that Spectres don't get paid a salary because they work for the council.
Hell, the licenses alone have set
But
more than I'd like.
I don't know.
No good.
Of all the things that are explained in this game, that one isn't very well explained.
Let's see what you got.
Morden even talks about in Mass Effect 2 about how his organization actually like paid for his stuff and didn't make him pay for things. So again, nothing we need right now. All I'm buying for the moment are licenses and upgrades. I'll buy really good weapons when the time comes.
Thanks for bringing me on board, Commander. I knew working with the Spectre would be better than life at CSEC.
Have you worked with the Spectre before?
Well, no, but I know what they're like. Spectres make their own rules. You're free to handle things your way.
By and large, that's true.
Carried by rules. The damn bureaucrats are always on your back.
So this is Garrus's arc for the story, and it goes into Mass Effect 2 a lot. I like Garrus best in Mass Effect 3, but I appreciate his building character here. It's somewhat consistent, to be honest.
How I do.
Garrus is all about having red tape in his way. He's a frustrated cop. That's his character. And he wants to bend the rules or break the rules in order to do his job. And as Shepard, you can actually help guide him in a certain direction as to whether he should be grateful for the rules or he should really try to bend them.
The way they do things.
There's more to it than that.
And that's what he goes to. Mass Effect 2, he goes more along that line. But we'll talk about a lot of the characters in Mass Effect 2 when we get there. Right now, we're just going to talk about Mass Effect 1 Garrus. And right now, you're basically his mentor. You're just talking to him.
I hope you made the right choice.
You're giving him a perspective, and you're telling him what it's like to be a Spectre and to have this kind of power, and what you should do with it, even if you aren't limited by regulations.
Either way,
it's short, it's somewhat poignant,
and without C-Sec
and
my shoulder.
If you're into it, you'll like Garrus later. If not, then I think you still might like Garrus later.
If getting the job done means endangering innocent people, then no.
So again, my Shepard is here to kind of like be a kind of guiding force in a sense for all these people, a responsible character. You know, she's not here to be gung-ho, unless, like, if she sees herself in a teaching role, she will teach. But if she sees somebody who's like on their path in life and they're fine, then she's gonna shut up and say, you know, knock back a few beers. She won't lecture anybody. With Garrus, he's clearly looking for answers. For Rex, it's a different kind of purpose. She might appeal to Rex's inner sense of responsibility, so that because she feels like he might want to do something with his life, but that's something we'll kind of get to, and that's in terms of just role playing. So let's see if Rex feels like talking.
There's no story.
Okay, contrary to that line, there is a story. He's lying. She doesn't feel like talking.
You Krogans lived for centuries. Don't tell me you haven't had interesting adventures.
One day this cough will end.
One time the Turians almost wiped out our entire race.
So yes, he's talking about the genophage. And Shepard says a really dumb line.
I heard about that. You know, they almost did the same to us.
It's not the same.
No, that was quick.
It seems pretty much the same to me.
A really dumb line.
So your people were infected with a genetic mutation? An infection that makes only a few in 1,000 children survive birth?
Yes, that's what the genophage does. Makes it so only 1 in 1,000 babies will survive birth. Or I think. So yeah, Shepard, that isn't not what happened to humans at all. Humans did not get a sterility plague put upon them. That being said, Krogans populate extremely fast. Like, I think they do 800 eggs a year, or 800 in a clutch a year. Something like that. But within a short frame of time, they're able to do 800. So realistically, you would think actually the genophage actually just puts them on mark with other species. But the greatest problem I think the genophage does, which we'll see in Mass Effect 2, is that the Krogan got culturally hit by the genophage. The genophage, yes, like he says, genophage infected them, but it's not what's killing them. They've adopted a cultural mindset that, like, you know what, if we got hit like this hard by the galaxy when we tried to do anything, why bother being unified? They put it in a certain different, more Krogan perspective, but that's largely what it happened.
Lots of species have left their homes and prospered.
But Krogan don't go on to, yes, exactly. They don't go on to colonize or improve the lives of other Krogans. They're there purely for individual payoff,
So we leave.
not collective payoff.
Hire ourselves out. And most of us never go back.
What can you tell me about the genophage?
Ask the Solarians if you want details. They made it. All I know, it makes breeding nearly impossible. Thousands die in stillbirth, and most never get that far. Every Krogan is infected. Every one. And no one's rushing to find a cure.
Sorry, the audio level is kind of bothering me a little bit. I just want to make sure it's good. Especially since this is a really, like, calm down environment.
Krogan try to find a cure.
When was the last time you saw
That sounds a little bit better. I like that. It's jumping up on the decibels a little bit more.
Krogan? Would he rather find a cure for the genophage or fight for credits? He'll choose fighting every time. It's just who we are, Shepard. I can't change that. Nobody cares.
So yeah,
So long, man.
I appreciate Rex's conversation. He tells you his personality and his experiences through stories, which is a great way to do it. Tally, on the other hand, when we get to her, you'll see she tells it more through like, this is what happened. It's more like a history lesson, and it's not as good.
Commander?
So how is she doing?
What's your opinion of the
But Rex's form of dialogue is on point. That's what it should be. You get his perspective and the perspective of most other people he hangs out with through storytelling. You know, through an experience he went through, or things he's seen or observed.
You wish we'd been able to save the rest of your unit.
Yes, ma'am. If I had been more alert, we wouldn't have been cut down by an ambush.
The Geth are perfect ambushers. They don't move, they don't make noise, they don't even breathe.
They have flashlight heads, ma'am.
That's a proper rebuttal. So Ashley has a little bit of survivor's guilt.
I'm sorry, Commander.
And once we get more of her family's backstory, we'll explore that more in depth. Right now, we're just getting a taste of every character.
Ma'am.
Alright, and last, but certainly not least, we're going to talk to Tally. Oh, and Engineer Adams. A little. He really has only one interesting to say, and then he talks about the ship. Whoop.
Hey, Commander, you know that Quarian, Tally? She's been spending all her time down here asking me about our engines.
I'll tell her to leave you alone.
Yeah, the only thing you can, it's just, you just assume that she's bothering people. You can't say for him to get used to it.
More about our engines than I do. She's got a real knack for technology, that one. I can see why you wanted her to come along.
I figured she'd be a real asset to the team.
You've got an eye for talent, Commander, but I'm guessing that's not why you came down here.
No, that's why I came down here.
Aye, aye.
Alright, Tally. And that, last but not least, you.
Your ship's amazing, Shepard. I've never seen
Alright, here's what I'm gonna do.
before.
Because I'm not gonna blow through all of Tally's dialogue in a row. I'm gonna give you one thing at a time. So after every main mission, we're gonna just have her talk
Humans have been so successful.
about one facet of her background. Because she really talks like an encyclopedia. And it's not... And it's all in the locked at the beginning, I think.
The Normandy's a prototype.
So I'm not gonna just have you rail on and on about it. And instead, I'm gonna make it each investigative option is a little bit of a piece to talk about. You know, one at a time, like I do everybody else.
One of the most advanced vessels in Citadel space. I have to thank you again for bringing me along. Traveling.
Oh, you're welcome. So yeah, she's really into ships.
True for me.
I had no idea you found
I mean, she lives her entire life aboard a ship. It's the thing that keeps her alive.
The migrant fleet is the key to the survival of my people.
Exactly.
Our most valuable resource. But we don't have anything like this. We make do with cast-offs and second-hand equipment. We just try to keep them running for as long as we can. Some of the fleet's larger vessels date all the way back to our original flight from the Geth.
I can't believe your fleet's still using ships that are 3 centuries old.
They're constantly being repaired, modified, and refitted. They aren't pretty, but they work. Most.
I'm just letting her do the talking at this point.
We've tried to make ourselves as independent as possible on the flotilla. Grow our own food, mine, and process our own fuel. But some things we just can't make on our own. A patch to maintain the hull integrity.
Alright, so
Materials we just don't have.
let's talk
Our pilgrimages are so important.
about pilgrimage.
I want to know more about
And then that's where we'll leave it on in this episode.
People reach maturity. We leave our birth ships.
So we already know a little bit about pilgrimage. They leave their birth ships, seek acceptance with the new crew. Yes, genetic diversity is kind of important in the long run, at least.
Who will be a burden on them. So,
That's a really microscopic yet long-term issue to deal with, is genetic diversity of your people.
we only return once we have found something of value we can bring back to the fleet. This is presented as a gift to the captain of the respective ship we wish to
Right.
join.
So little cultural paradigm every ship
Welcomed into the
in the Quarian flotilla.
Choose to reject the gift?
That doesn't happen often. Most captains are eager to increase the size of their crew. It increases their own standards.
And also, in some senses, you'll find this on Mass Effect 2, but the Normandy, as it is here, the ship, and Shepard would be considered a captain of this ship. You know, despite not actually having the naval rank of captain, in Quarian society, this would be seen as another micro society within, you know, the larger system.
Something worthwhile.
can't believe they just send you off alone.
They do, and she's like what? She's 17, I think. No, actually, I think she's older than that. I'm trying to remember though.
And given gifts to help us on our
Because I think she's 24 in Mass Effect 2, and there's a 2-year gap.
to fight off sickness and disease.
It's hard to remember. I have to look it up.
Isolated and highly controlled environment have left our immune systems weaker than most. By the time we leave the fleet, we are well equipped.
So yes, their immune systems.
This is a rite of passage.
Quarian immune system is very specific in the Mass Effect universe. They, instead of having insects on their planet to carry pollen and such, and mammals became, or I think mammals and fauna became the creatures that carry that kind of stuff. So in order to compensate, they needed to be able to, they adapt to the viruses and things, and on their planet, their immune system became more adaptive, so much so that they couldn't handle the foreign elements of different planets. It was very difficult to adapt to new planets, but now because they lived the entire life sterile, it's very hard to adapt anywhere at all. Adapting to their home planet, again, after 300 years would take some time even. But just a little tidbit about how the Quarians have been working. Alright, so without further ado, that marks it for this episode of the Retrospective. Thanks again to you guys for coming along. I know this episode was kind of short on big content, but we're going to get back into the gameplay. Next episode, I'm going to show you one side quest. I'm hopefully going to get you a little taste of the mission where we go to save Liara on Therum. Aside from that, please like and subscribe if you've liked what you've seen. Tune in for more episodes of Huffle and stuff, and thanks for watching, everybody.